So I'm having a chat with Ron Sexsmith. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good, great to hear. So after this interview, we'll be playing a new single of yours called "Don't Lose Sight." Tell us a bit about the single first of all.
Um, it's a song that I was working on way back in the early 90s, to be honest with you, but I could never finish it. But I thought it had kind of potential, you know? And, I just last year at some point when I was putting this album together, I was reminded of it and I started playing it around the house and I all of a sudden I figured out what needed to happen, you know? And I needed to get rid of the second verse and go right to the bridge and then come back, you know. And sometimes I mean, things don't generally take that long, but this time I finally figured out what my problem with the song was and came up with a structure that I think worked. And I was so excited because I always liked the song and uh and I knew that it could be a good sort of lead track of this album. It's basically a love song, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, nice. And as mentioned, it's off your new album, Hangover Terrace, which is coming out August 29th. What can we expect to hear on the record?
Well, I worked with producer Martin Tereffi, who's done three of my previous records. Some of my favorite albums that I've done have been with Martin, and I just really like his approach. You know, it's very free. He brought in some great musicians, so it's a very kind of electric album. You know, it's very, I think, upbeat in general. Um, I think lyrically, it's a maybe a little darker than some of my previous albums, the recent albums. Um, But I don't know. It's still early days. I'm just really, digging the way it sounds. I think we got a really good groove overall. I think I'm singing pretty good on it for my age and everything. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So,
Good, good. And the sound that you made with the record, is it the sound you wanted, or is it kind of how it turned out in the studio?
well, it's always a little different than, I mean, when I flew to England, I was thinking about the album, what kind of album we were going to make, and you really can't. With Martin, it's hard to know because especially at his studio, Eastcote, because there's so many musicians hanging around that every day some other musician walks in and ends up playing on your record. It feels like a commune or something. So I didn't really know, I didn't have any ideas of how it should sound. I just knew that it was going to be, I knew that Martin really loved the songs and that he was bringing in some great players. So after that, all you can do is just hope that some magic happens, I guess. And we were working really fast. We were doing three songs a day, because we only had the musicians for 5 or 6 days or something. So we had to get that down, and then that was the big relief once we got the basic tracks down, and then we could sort of do all the fun stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you wrote more than what made it onto this record. What happens to those now? Do you consider them again down the line, or we bin them off and start again?
Yeah, almost every album I've done, there's been a song or two that was like an orphan, from a previous record that didn't make it on. And usually there's a reason why I didn't make it on at the time. And and you find a home for it eventually. Um, the last record, Vivian Line, I had a song on it that I wrote back in 1988 that I never found a home for. So it's just I try to keep I don't throw anything away, because you never know
Mm.
if this song will come in handy someday. Like I say, Don't Lose Sight. Also, there's another song on this record called Camelot Towers that I demoed for my second album, but it never made it on a record till now.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, fair enough. And I like to talk about the writing side of things as well. So for you, how do the tracks normally start off?
Um, it's just I write by myself, so generally I'll have I write mostly when I'm walking around or doing cutting the grass or something. So generally, I'll get a melody going in my head, and then sometimes I'll get there'll be some lyrics attached to that, maybe a line or two, and I start to kind of see. You can see a song taking shape or forming, and and then it's really at that point, it's just a matter of making a mental note of it, and then I have to keep sort of returning to it uh, and trying to get a little further with it. So, but all the songs they begin these little fragments, and six or seven, and then you start to see an album kind of forming. It's very exciting. Uh, when you're a writer, that's what you get excited about. So, and these songs were written mostly over the last year, and I didn't know who I should work with. There were a bunch of other songs that I ended up uh, kind of, putting to the side because they weren't, I don't know, they weren't strong enough or whatever. But this batch, I think Martin helped me sort of zero in on what the album was or what the sequence should be and all that.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, of course. And you've been writing and releasing music since the mid 80s. How has the music evolved over those years?
Yeah. Well, those are my first attempts. I mean, my first proper album didn't come out till 95 or 96 in the UK. But I think it's changed a lot because troubleshooting, for example, before I would have these songs, I would get stuck on like Don't Lose Sight. I didn't know how to finish it. I didn't have the tools or something to figure out what was wrong with it. And now I think I do. After doing so many albums, I can sort of hear a song like, oh, that's a weak second verse, or I need to get to the bridge faster, or it just things that you learn just from experience, just from doing it. And so I think that's just happened organically. Also, I just think I'm singing much better than I used to. I took me a long time to be happy with my voice. I think it was like about my seventh or eighth album before I felt I was singing any good. So um, I wish it would have happened sooner, because now I'm old and but anyway, yeah. So it's just like I've learned a lot. I'm a good study. I have so many heroes, songwriting heroes that I've just learned from and got ideas from and so I just think it's been a natural progression to get to this point now.
Yeah, nice, nice. And you've done a couple of shows already this year, but you've got a lot more coming up. I bet you can't wait to be kind of properly on the road again.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm a little stressed about it too. I mean I was looking at my itinerary and I'm tired already thinking about how tired I'm going to be because it's a lot of traveling is tiring. I mean I love the performing part, but getting to the gigs and there's a lot of stress because people pay money and they get babysitters and you want to put on a good show and all that kind of stuff. So, but I'm excited because when you're on tour, you can't do anything else. So it kind of frees you up, really. You just sort of I got to be in Philadelphia tomorrow, and then it's just a matter of getting there. Every show you cross it off. Okay, that went well. Okay, on to the next show. So there's a kind of I like that aspect of touring. Um, like when you're home, there's all this stuff you got to do, and most of it's not fun, like yard work and things like that. So when you're on the road, it's just like, well, this is who I am. This is what I do. So yeah, I just hope we get some good crowds and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And you've done a show over here a couple of days ago. Are you hoping to add some more UK dates at some point?
Yeah, we're looking at the spring of 2026. Because I played the UK last year and the year before, I just don't want to wear out my welcome. So we're looking next year UK and Europe, maybe some other places too. So this year, I mean, also America. I mean, my permit is still valid, so we want to play America this year. And so hopefully we won't have any troubles at the border there, with all the stuff that's going on.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, by the end of it, I mean, I can see touring this album right up into next summer, just the way it's going. So,
Nice, nice. Is there anywhere that you've not been to before that you want to go and play at some point?
um, probably, although I mean, there's a lot of places that I haven't been to in a long time. Like I haven't been to Japan in over 10 years or Australia in over 10 years. So I'd love to get back there. Um, yeah, I mean, there's still places, uh, in Europe that I haven't been like to Poland and places like that, or Eastern places, but I don't know if anyone would come see me there anyway. But yeah, I'm a nervous traveler too, so I don't, it takes a lot to get me on an airplane and all that sort of stuff. So, uh, but anyway, yeah, I mean, there's definitely some places that I haven't been to in a long time that I hope we can get to again before I before I drop dead. So, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Ron, it's been a pleasure having a chat with
Yeah.
you.
Thanks. Nice chatting with you too, Jim.